Assemblies in Solid Edge ST6. My name is Candace Sprawl, and I do the marketing here at Swoosh Technologies. And I just wanted to go a little bit about who Swoosh is. We are the full software provider, meaning that we sell the software, we support, and we also do a lot of the training on the software. That's an old webinar there. Just wanted to mention that we do have a CamWorks webinar tomorrow. So if you go to our website, you can sign up and attend that. That is the CAM portion. It's an integrated program inside of Solid Edge for CAM. And then a little bit about our training. We have different options. You can do it at our center-based at our classrooms. You can do it on your sites if you had a lot of need and a lot of students that need to be trained. And you can do it online, which is a new virtual option that we have. And it's worked out very well so far. And I just have a little list of the types of Solid Edge courses we offer. But we do also offer customized solutions where we can use your models and we customize the text course. And you get to learn when using your actual material. And before we get started with the demo part, I wanted to just pull up a quick poll and ask you guys what version of Solid Edge you use. This can help us in customizing our future webinars and make sure that we customize information for you. And it'll also help our application engineers talk in ways that they can relate to older versions and they're showing on newer versions. So just leave this up for a couple minutes before I hand it over to Sam Estrada, or a couple seconds. And it does look like most everybody is using ST6, which is great, but we still have a few in ST5 and ST4. But a lot of this information is still definitely relevant. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sam, and he's going to walk you through assemblies in Solid Edge.
All right, thank you, Candace. Hi, my name is Sam Estrada. I'm an application engineer here with Swoosh Technologies. Real quick, today's little short webinar that we got, we're going to be covering assemblies. I'll be showing you the new create and place options that are available inside ST6. Also some assembly synchronous changes and some relationships. And then we'll go into the new feature of the Boolean Subtract in the assembly level and then the part level as well. And if anybody has any questions, just go ahead and feel free to type them in. And then depending on how much time we have at the end of the webinar, I can either answer them here or Candace will email me the questions, and then we'll get those sent out to you guys as quickly as we can get them out the door. So again, real quick, we're going to go ahead and cover the create part in place command real quick. I here have an assembly of a valve. They changed up the menu structure and the create part in place. Now whenever you activate the command, you'll end up with getting this dialog box either at the beginning, or if you have this option checked off here to don't show, then you won't get it again. You have to come over here and click over here to get it back. But this kind of sets up the command bar for what you're about to do for a create and place option. So you have the ability to activate inside the assembly level where to place the origin. So now we have the ability of placing, using the origin here available in assembly, offset from some place here on the actual part of graphical input. And then of course we have the create, place, and options where I can create the play, just create the component here or go ahead and start editing it. Now once I hit OK, none of those options are pretty locked in yet because I'm still in the active command. And with the new toolbar up here, you notice everything's going to work from left to right. So in my first little drop down, I have, what kind of part I want to create in place, either an assembly or a sheet metal part. Right now I'm going to leave it at assembly ANSI part. If it wasn't listed there, I could come over here and browse and select the template that I needed. In this other box right here, I can go ahead and assign it a material if I knew it. So these new enhancements right here will just kind of help you save some time later than having to go in and opening the part and assigning a material or anything after you've created. So I can do it from here on the fly. I can also go ahead and tell it to ground the new part that I'm about to create. This other box here, the create in place origin. This is new because we have some different options now. So instead of, by the default, coincident with assembly origin. So if I go ahead and hit the green check mark and hit OK, I'll automatically be creating the part using this origin down here. It's based on the assembly. Now I can change it, select the offset, and it will give me a graphical, it'll give me the coordinate system where it's going to be located. But as soon as I click on a face or a location using some of these endpoints that I have, it's automatically going to put the coordinate system up there, but it's also going to go ahead and give me the location. So right here, my Z value, there's 95. I can come over and click on, say, this face over here. Let's click on that circle there. It's going to go ahead and give me the coordinates for that place. But I can also come in and manually input a new distance here. So there I offset it up another 5 millimeters. So my new coordinate system will be offset from there. I can go ahead and accept it, and my new part will be created from there. So that's something new that's available now in the ST6 assembly module. I can also go by graphical input. This one's really cool because now I can just pick any single spot on this assembly part, and I can automatically go ahead and drop my coordinate system there. Also, if you look down here in my prompt bar, I can also flip it, twist it, toggle it, change my base plane any which way. So if I hit F, I can go ahead and change my coordinate system there. I can hit B, flip it around. I can P, change the base plane. If I can hit the red X, say I didn't want it there, go ahead and hit the red X, and I can go back and reassign it somewhere else. So if I click on that face, you see that green line that's showing up at the bottom of that face right there. If I hit, and I can change the base of it. And using using my keyboard here, I can go ahead and change the orientation of it. And again, once I pick a place where I want to drop it down, select. It goes ahead and gives me one final time to readjust it. When I'm ready, just hit OK. Give it a new part name. Hit save, and it goes in and starts. There I have my new part now. I can start creating. I can start using, if I wanted to, I could go start using the inner part copy the face, and start using some of that geometry. What's new also is going to be some of these over here in the tools toolbar. We also got components, piers, and silhouettes. This allows me to use, the individual geometry that's sitting over here on this face. So instead of doing an inner part copy, I could go ahead and turn on piers, and it's going to allow me to pick any one of those objects over here now. So if I come over here and I want to say I lock onto this face, notice that right now I really can't lock onto it, but if I hold down my shift key, I can now lock onto that front face and start using that as, where I'm going to start using my sketch. So right here I can go ahead and say I want to draw a quick little rectangle. It's going to be locked into that face right there in that assembly part. I can also go ahead and use, the include, the project sketch, and I can go ahead and get this entire face over here if I needed to. Accept that, and I can go ahead and start clicking over using synchronous in my steering wheel. Go ahead and start building my new part off of here, and going off from there. And I didn't have to use a inner part copy. This is just a part that I just built off of that by using the new commands that were allotted over here in my tools area. And the piers also allows me to do is actually click and use this existing geometry and use some of the existing parts right here, so I don't really have to use the inner part copy. So other cool thing here, what's new is our undo command. We can actually go ahead and undo multiple steps before it was saved now in the assembly level, something that we couldn't do before. So if I want to go back to the original part, I can just go back, select all the undo commands, go from there. I'm at the very beginning, go off from there. So that is the new create and place toolbar, new commands that we have in there. Now let's take a look at some of the assembly synchronous changes that we can make. So I'm going to toggle over here. I have an assembly here already open, ready to go. This assembly here was brought in from a SolidWorks part. So this is a entirely imported assembly. So this is, they just filed, open, brought it into Solid Edge. All these components started out in SolidWorks, and now they're part of my Solid Edge assembly, and I can go in and start editing each one of these. So notice I've got a little side plate assembly up here, vertical plate, and I've got a frame assembly. Well, same things that we're used to, back in the other versions. I can go ahead and import, activate this assembly here, and go ahead and edit this in place. Open that up, and if I hit Control Q, you can see there's the actual assembly. Hit Control Q again, and it'll toggle it away. So here I have the little sub-assembly. It's already active. I'm working within it, and I want to make some changes to this. Now, with ST6 and Synchronous, if I go in and try to click on this part right here, and I want to make a change, it kind of highlights the whole thing. Well, inside over here in our selection toolbar, we can change what our priority is when we're selecting things. So right now, by default, it's always going to pick up part priority. So anything I click on, it's going to select the entire part. I can also change it over here to face priority. So now when I click on something, it's actually going to click on a face instead of the entire part. So when I click on there, I can get my basic synchronous steering wheel. You see there, that's our basic one that just has one single axis, and I can go ahead and start pushing and pulling on this geometry. So I can start making changes to the part on the assembly level. So you notice that right there, my live rules is picking up a club planar relationship between this face and that back face over there. So I can go ahead and let me move this steering wheel out of the way. So by simply clicking on that face, I can go ahead and change both those parts. If I wanted to go ahead and move that hole that's over here in this bearing block, I could go ahead and select it by just hitting the space bar. Let's pick that one, and let's go ahead and pick this face here, and I want to manipulate all those. I could do that here from the assembly level as well. So I'm making synchronous changes up on the top level of this subassembly and affecting the parts, and any change I'd make it go ahead and push down to the part level. If I wanted to go ahead and select this slot right here, I can just come over here to my selection manager and go ahead and just click on this face here, tell it to recognize the feature. It'll go ahead and select all of it in there. I can accept it from there, get my steering wheel back, and you notice now I've got this is the full-blown steering wheel. I can rotate it, I can move it in either axis, so I can go ahead and click here, move this, and notice that the plane, the front faces of those blue parts, they're moving. The circles in both of the blocks are moving because live rules down here, Solid Edge is automatically picking up a relationship between those two. So I selected this one, the one that's in here. It's automatically picking up the relationship over there, and it's also go ahead and moving those little scallops that are inside this bearing block. Now, say I didn't want the other hole back over here moving, I could simply use the same. I could toggle off the live rules like I normally would inside my part environment, because the same rules apply over here in my assembly. So if I hit let's turn off our axle alignment, and you notice down on my live rule panel down here, it's axle alignments turn red. So now I've forced Solid Edge not to recognize that axle alignment between both those holes. So now I can go ahead and make my change, say just to the block without affecting those holes. Now say I didn't want to affect the other planar, the other face up there, I could just simply go ahead and toggle off the planar alignment. So now I'm only affecting the first block here, and say I didn't want to affect that little scalp there, I could just go ahead and turn off my axle alignment. Oh, saves it, and see. There we go. So now whenever I move that circle, I'm not messing around with that little part inside that bearing unless I go inside of it. So say here I go ahead and just go ½ inch. Let's go ahead and move that out just a little bit. And you notice that there I can go ahead and I made my change. Over here on the assembly part, I went ahead and using live rules, I deselected this portion here for making the change, and I just went ahead and just made a change to this front part right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to show you some other little neat tricks that we can use with our relationships. Now right here you can see that I'm hovering over these parts and I'm still selecting faces and everything. I can hold down the control button on my keyboard and hit the space bar, and that'll take me back to part priority. Now as I hover over each one of these parts, you can see it's selecting the actual parts in the assembly. Now, like I said before, this assembly was brought in from SolidWorks. So if we come over here and look at the relationships, by default, whenever you bring one of these in, it's going to come in as a grounded part. Nothing special, no face, face mates here to here. It's just going to be a grounded piece. In other words, it's fixed in that space. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you some of the relationship, the assembly relationship assistant, and how we can add in automatically some relationships and make this a little more intelligent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete these other ones that are on here right now. Go ahead and delete those, and we'll go ahead and zoom in over here to this first block. And like I said, right now we've got just a ground, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and go to my assembly assistant over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tell it to look for some relationships between this purple part and this block right here. So once I hit OK, I can select the block, select this one, and we'll go ahead and accept it. My menu bar comes up. It's going to look for any mates between any regular mates, any axle lines. If I wanted to, I could turn on the planar align, connect. I'll allow some different offsets. Hit the process command, and it's automatically going to look and find, okay, I've got two axle alignments there, and I've got a mate there. If I'm satisfied with those, I go ahead and hit accept. It'll start processing those changes. When it's done, I hit close. Once I finish the command out, you'll see that now select the block. I'll automatically have some relationships built in. And from the looks of it, I don't know if it liked any of the changes I made, so let's go ahead and run that command again right quick. So let's go ahead and delete those. Let's go ahead and run it again right quick. Let's go ahead and process that. There we go. Now you can see it now went ahead and accepted those changes. So now this is now fully, I've got some intelligence built into it now, into this part. So now they're both, I've got a collinear, I've got a planar axis. So now I want to go ahead and say copy that over with the existing relationships I just added. So what I need to do is just simply go ahead and using my my part priorities select, I can just go ahead and pick the part. And what I'm going to do is using the steering wheel, I'm just going to go ahead and move it over to a common point so I can locate the new copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate it over here on this circle here. And why do I point it to the center of that circle? So I can go ahead and make my new copy and put it over here now. Now I can come over here to my command bar. There's the copy command. I could also hold the control button down while hitting the main axis. It'll do the same thing. Let's go ahead and check our options. My options, I've had them preset to, it's going to go ahead and remove all the relationships and then add new relationships to other components. So what this means is that when I make the copy, it's going to go ahead and delete these. And as soon as I drop it down, it's going to go ahead and recreate it with some new relationships. So I hit OK, make sure I have my copy on, click on my axis over here on my steering wheel, and I'm just going to pick the midpoint of this circle here, drop it down, go ahead and accept that in. Oh, we gotta love demos. There we go. Let's try that again. Let's copy that. And new relationships. Yes. Let's go ahead and copy. There we go. I had to select the purple part. So once I selected it, now what I told it is I want this back to be mated with this, and it goes ahead and builds all the relationships. Now that I have these two copied, I can go in there now and just select both of them using the same command over here. Just go ahead and move this down here to this axis here. Just go copy, and we'll go ahead and just copy a new set over to the front and select our base plate. Go ahead and accept that out. Now we have a fully defined set of blocks down here tied to my purple block here. So there's a couple of other ways you could do it. We could go ahead and just copy them over, just bring in the parts individually. But using the new commands available to us in ST6, like with the relationship assembly, we can go ahead and just copy that over and have it pre-built and just kind of save us some time over in the long run. What we can also do is we can also use down here what we call create inner part relationships. Now what this inner part relationship will do is it'll in essence link two parts together and make one drive another. Now what this is helpful is, say right here I've got these blocks, each one of these has some holes in them. Well, if I look over here, they're also matching up with the blocks, with the holes in this purple block here. Now if I were to go ahead and just drag this right where it is right now and move it over, you notice that the holes in the purple plate don't move. Now we can go ahead and use this command right here to help us link those two parts together, so whenever we do move these will automatically update. So this is how we do that. We'll go here and so we're going to select this part. We're going to use these relationships, and for now we're going to go ahead and just kind of suppress them. So by suppress I mean it's going to go ahead and I'm not going to quite delete them, but I'm just going to turn the switch off. That way they're not applicable at the moment. So let me hit escape here. Now let me go here and select the command, and if you look down here at our prompt bar, which is right down here, and if you have yours hidden, if you have yours pinned up somewhere, we can just click on it and unpin it. It says click on the part or sheet metal component to be driven. In this case I'm going to have this purple part driven by, and it's going to tell me where I want to be driving it. I'm going to click on this block here. When I do, it's automatically going to find any inner part relationships I can apply. I can go ahead and toggle each one of these off. The ones I don't need, I can keep them all on. It's your choice. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and keep them all on. What I'm going to do is hit save. Now you'll see over here on my plate, I'll have a little link button. Now I know that this is being linked and being driven by something else. So if we look down here, we can also look at our purple part right here. We can see that I've got the 4 holes here. Let's go ahead and switch over to, I've got the 4 holes here that lined up with those blocks. I also have the other 4 holes here. And from moving this block and this bearing that we saw earlier, I know that each one of these is in line, so I know there's a live rule that's going to be governing. If I move these set of holes are going to follow with it. So I know by seeing this, I already know that Solid Edge is going to be using live rules and its intelligence to kind of help me out. So whenever I come in now and move this block, say I want to do a quick little sync change, drag this block over, say about 1/2 inch. Not only did the 4 holes associated with the block that I built up with the create inner part relationship move, but with live rules acting, I'm also moved the other holes down below. So different little tools that you can go ahead and add in to help, whenever you're building your assembly, you can help making changes and kind of make it a little more efficient. Now, you could go in here and get a little more creative too. You can go ahead and using your face relay commands, come in and start making, these holes relate this hole to the one down here at the bottom, make them equal equal radiuses. That way, if you change the radius in this block right here, it would also change the whole radius in here too. So your imagination's the only thing holding you back at this point. So that's our those are some of the enhancements here in using our assembly relationship and our inner part relationship. Let me go ahead and switch over now. I'm going to show you one of the last ones, a Boolean Subtract that was just added in to ST6. Right here I've got a motor and I've got a base plate. If I toggle off the motor, you can see I've got some socket head screws that are just kind of sitting there on top of this plate. So there's no, and if I come over here and hide the plate, you can see I've got a recess in that motor. So if I wanted to go ahead and make a pocket for this motor, it had to come in, get the plate, make an inner part copy, start doing stuff like that. A couple of ways we can go about now by using a Boolean Subtract command. I can come in here, edit this part in place, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Q and toggle my other assembly back on. And I could come over here to my, go here in my command area, and I can go here and use my subtract. This is my Boolean Subtract. It's kind of hidden over here in your multi-body. If you couldn't find it here, you go ahead and use your command finder, type in subtract, and it'll go ahead and prompt you, and you can quickly find it there. So when we activate the command, it'll go ahead and ask me, which is the target. I want that one. Go ahead and accept it out. Now I want to go ahead and pick this existing motor, accept that out, and you notice as soon as I do that, I can come back over here and turn off the display. There's the holes, and there's the center part for my motor. Instantly, quickly, done real quick. Now you can do this in a synchronous or an ordered environment. When you do it in the ordered environment, it'll actually link the two. It'll link the geometry back up. So any change you actually make into the motor, it'll go ahead and drive that down to the part. Again, we can use our undo and go back to the very beginning. Not only do you have that in the part command, but you also now have it over here in the features. You also have a subtract over here on the assembly level now. So if we click on that, you'll see here I can make a synchronous. I can have the option of making a synchronous change or maintain links in an order operation. So the difference is right here I can make it in the ordered environment, and if I made any change to the motor, you'd see it come that way. So real quick, again, procedures are the same. Pick the target, come back, pick the tool that's going to make the hole, accept, finish. Now we hide the motor there. You see there's the holes. If we turn it back on, now if we come over here and go to a face priority, like I said before, if you do it with a sync, you have to do a couple of extra steps in order to get, all the holes to line up. And to make the change, now you could use the assembly, the capture inner part relationships command. After you do the synchronous change, and go ahead and tie, the holes in the motor, the holes here, so then when you make the change, it will populate down. Or let's go ahead and undo. Let's go ahead and undo there. Let's see if there's a hole in there. Or let's try the other way. Subtract. Let's go ahead and maintain the links. Again, target. Workflow is the same. We'll zoom on in. We'll select the entire top portion. We'll go ahead and accept it. Finish. Now you'll see there's a link already built into it. So if we come over here and switch our already in face priority, if I come over here and make a synchronous change to this, pop that out there. Go ahead and accept that. Now if we hide our motor and we hide one of the socket screws, you'll see that the hole in the base plate came through. So I like that one because you don't have to do any extra work. It's all quickly 1, 2, 3, and it's in there. And with that, concludes my short little assembly demo to you guys. Again, we went over some create in place options, the new options they put into ST6. some assembly synchronous changes, and we went over some relationships and automatic relationships, and the new Boolean Subtract in the assembly level and the part level. So if you don't have, you can just type in your questions in the Canvas. We're at about our 30-minute mark, so I kind of went over about 3 minutes, but appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and I'll switch it over to Candace.
All right, thank you, Sam. I don't have too much to offer. Or to add on, we don't have any questions that came in, but Sam is correct. Just go ahead and follow up if you do have any questions. We'll make sure to get them answered. And with that, I hope to see you guys next month at our next Solid Edge short, where we'll be going over simulations. So just look out for the email and sign up. Thank you all for coming. Thanks.